Hello, thank you for tuning in to Kaieteur Radio. I am Kevin Smith, and welcome to your news at noon. These episodes we are talking controversial Chinese company rebids for a Mile of Fault special project. Japanese rigid measures led to 166% increase in revenues in 4 years, according to report. And leaders must recognize world in middle of climate emergency, says the UN Secretary General, with COP26 1 month away. Stay tuned to get the full details of these stories and more after the break.
Hello, hi. Let me show you something lit. Get your free chats now with Bit. Tell me video and voice calls. Discover and games, and that's not all. Cash and prizes for all of us. It's exciting, it's fabulous. Translate, populate, locate, innovate, but shh. It's a secret, no need to keep it. You won't see me here again. 3, 2, 1. I'll see you in a bit. Download the app now for chat.
And now for the news in detail. Controversial Chinese construction company China Railway Group Limited, which was blacklisted by the World Bank in September of 2019 for allegedly breaching procurement guidelines, is one of four companies that submitted proposals for the 165 megawatt Amila Falls hydropower project. The procuring entity. My apologies. The procuring entity was the Office of the Prime Minister, who holds responsibility for the energy portfolio. Construction of the Amila Falls project is expected to commence next year after being stalled for years from when it was first proposed. The project was not able to commence back then due to issues of feasibility and lack of transparency. Specifically, the project was stalled in 2013 after opposition controlled National Assembly refused to pass the environmental legislation required for the Inter American Development Bank to approve part of the required financing. And in other news, with the 26th United Nations Climate Change Conference of Parties, commonly referred to as COP26, 1 month away, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres recently urged leaders to recognize that the world is in the middle of a climate emergency. As such, urgent action is needed to protect humanity. The official made this plea at the final official ministerial meeting pre-COP26 that was held in Milan, Italy yesterday. On mitigation, Guterres said current nationally determined contributions will lead to a catastrophic 2.7 degrees Celsius global temperature rise. Guterres said he commends those nations, especially vulnerable developing countries, that have come forward with more ambitious contributions despite the ongoing COVID-19 crisis. And in other news, for the last decade, emergency, that should be energy strategist and local content expert Anthony Paul, has observed that Trinidad and Tobago's oil and gas sector has been nothing but a slow train wreck. In a recent virtual discussion with his fellow Trinidadians on the depressing state of the economy that has left its people under pressure, Paul said in no uncertain terms that the country's gas sector has been doing dramatically bad for a long time. Paul said he would attribute the industry's declining health to a lack of adherence to the principles of transparency and accountability, two key elements of any robust governance framework. And now let's tell you, as a result of implementing a series of rigid measures, GRA witnessed an astronomical increase in tax collection during a period of 4 years, specifically between 2016 and 2019. According to one of the agency's key reports, it was noted that direct and indirect annual revenue figures increased cumulatively from $2 billion in 2016 to $5.5 billion in 2019, representing an increase of 166%. And moving on, an alleged weed hustler who tried to escape police officers on Wednesday by plunging into the Demerara River was eventually nabbed while hiding in some bushes close to the riverbank. The man, identified as 29-year-old resident of Anna Catharina, West Coast Demerara, had jumped into the river around 7 hours 30. According to a police report, patrol ranks traveling in a pickup had spotted the man walking along the Craig Public Road, carrying a black haversack. When he saw the ranks, the man reportedly began acting in a suspicious manner, which caused the ranks' attention. As a result, they drove up to him and stopped, but before they could utter a word, the man started to run. He reportedly ran towards the Demerara River and plunged in. The man was arrested and taken to the Golden Grove station, where he remains in custody. In other news, a businessman and a pensioner have reportedly drowned on Wednesday after an aluminum boat powered by a 15 HP outboard engine capsized in the rapids of the Quarawak Falls, located in the Essequibo River in the vicinity of Chinese Landing, Region 8. The boat mishap took place around 1 hour 30, some 22 miles downstream the river from Kiripakari Crossing. The dead were identified as 68-year-old Roach Leo and a 53-year-old Dharmendra Dean. And I'll tell you, members of the Ghana Police Force are hunting for an Alboystown man who allegedly posted a series of nude photographs of his ex-girlfriend on TikTok. According to the police, the suspect was in a relationship with a 21-year-old female, and during the relationship, the woman had sent nude photos and videos of herself from her cellular phone to the suspect's cellular phone. The woman told the police that during the early part of September 2021, the suspect accused her of being unfaithful, and as such, she opted to end the relationship with him. However, despite the fact that the suspect accused the woman of being unfaithful, the suspect refused to end the relationship, and he threatened to post all of her nude photos and videos on social media. In other news, 33-year-old Kevin Samsudeen is now dead. He had resided in the same area who succumbed to injuries at the Georgetown Public Hospital yesterday at around 7 hours 25. The police reported that the suspect came home drunk on the night of the incident and told his 61-year-old mother that he is hungry and that he wants her to serve him food. It is understood that the woman denied her son's request, and as such, the suspect became annoyed, threw a pot with the food to the ground, and started to abuse her verbally. The deceased, who lives next door, heard the argument and went over to his mother's house, to which he intervened. After demanding that his brother desist from verbally abusing their mother, the suspect responded by asking his brother if he wants to do something about it. An alarm was raised and the police were called in. The police reported that the suspect was armed with a black knife and after the argument escalated, walked up to his brother and stabbed him several times. In other news, Bola Bagwandin, known as Buddy, was yesterday acquitted of 2 counts of rape but was found guilty of assaulting the woman he was accused of raping. Bagwandin was on trial in the Demerara High Court before Justice Joanne Barlow and a 12-member jury. He had denied the 2 counts of rape charge, which alleges that on September 2, 2019, in the county of Demerara, he engaged in sexual penetration with the woman. He had also pleaded not guilty to the 3rd charge, which stated that on the same date and location, he assaulted the said woman, thereby causing her actually bodily harm. And now we move on to our COVID-19 update, followed by the page 7 of the Kaieteur News that is dedicated to being blunt. The Ministry of Health yesterday reported that 3 more persons who tested positive for COVID-19 have died. As a result of this, the country's COVID-19 death toll has moved to 786. The latest fatalities the ministry reported are those of an unvaccinated woman and 2 unvaccinated men. Meanwhile, 189 new infections were recorded, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 31,827. 32 patients are admitted into the ICU, 140 persons in institutional isolation, 3,839 in home isolation, and 9 in institutional quarantine. To date, A total of 27,030 persons who tested positive for the virus have recovered. The new and improved Amila Falls Hydro Project is back in business. The new is the same as the old. Secrecy already, leadership vulgarity and stupidity at the ready. It is to mislead and deceive Guyanese with what is sure to benefit insiders and cronies. PPPC leadership attempted to sell Guyana this trap before. They are preparing to do the same again. Do these people have a single honest bone in their body? The answer we are inclined to believe is no, no, no. And with that, we've come to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-84